Coming up on today's wrestling news, a new era for NXT begins.
Surprise injury clearances in AEW.
A Royal Rumble secret has been revealed.
And a cult WWE favourite pitches a return.
I'm Adam Wilborn.
I'm Michael Hamflett.
And this is the news, and it is a new day for fans of NXT.
New.
Huge revamp on last night's show. Last night's brilliant show, I should say. We'll be talking all about it later on today. Some of the grumpy boys in the office didn't like it. But the legends did, don't worry. And I'll be going to bat for the not black and gold, not multicolour, not black and yellow, but black and silver now NXT. I'm not sure if Ryan can stick up the new NXT logo. That wasn't the only new thing on the show.
No.
We got a new song sung by, or rapped, I should say, by 2 Chainz and Lil Wayne for the intro to the new NXT show on the CW. I thought it sounded great. They've got new belts as well. They're sort of, I've seen a lot of people describe them as sort of UFC-esque.
Yeah.
Quite basic. They've simplified it a little bit.
New logo slapped on the front.
I'm always reticent to say whether I love or hate new belts, because I think they take a while to get used to. And anything new, normally you go, oh, I'm not sure if I like it. I like the old thing. But I don't know, divisive belts possibly.
Very much in keeping with the new branding. It's like synergy choice, you get it, but I love the old NXT World title.
Yeah.
I will miss that belt. That was one of the most gorgeous belts in wrestling, I think.
Yeah, it was a really nice one. We got a return on last night's show as well. Cora Jade returned to cost Julia in the opening match of the night. Roxanne Perez still your NXT champion, although that does potentially mean Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade tagging against Stephanie Vaquer and Julia. Yes, please.
Big questions about when Roxanne Perez is going to move up to the main roster, so I'll have to address them on the podcast.
I will be asking Michael Sidgwick about that later on today. And a new NXT champion, yes! Trick Willie is back as your world champion. Beat Ethan Page in the main event. Spoilers, I know, but what, you watched the news before watching NXT if you didn't want to know all this information.
Yeah.
And Ethan Page had a really bad night, because not only did he lose the NXT title, he got hit with a GTS before the show, just before it went off the air, as the confetti was falling for Trick Willie. There was a nice photo as well backstage with Punk enjoying a pizza and Trick Willie enjoying his new title afterwards.
Indeed, not just any pizza, Lou Malnati's pizza. They did the old, Punk did the ice cream in Chicago with AEW, he's done the pizza now in Chicago with WWE. Everybody got a free Lou Malnati's as they were walking out. I've had that before, you know.
It's nice to see him enjoying food after a show that he's really had a good time with.
So good. Like, the pizza there is so... I don't know if it's a very tourist thing to say. Chicagoans in the comments let me know, but I feel even the locals like Lou Malnati's. That and Pequod's is where you go for your Chicago
God,
deep
I want to go to Chicago. I've been to the airport, that's it. I just stop over there.
Not even a bad airport. I had a nice time. It was the first time I ever used like the Asda self-checkout passport control. And we flew through it. It was
Is
brilliant.
Chicago the one a bit like if you see an early photo of Simon Miller? Oh, hair! Is that the right one?
It's exactly like...
Hey, yeah!
Yeah. Like, subjectively, yes, I will share my complaints when we do the NXT review. But objectively, it was absolutely box fresh, wasn't it, NXT? They were telling you, if not showing you, this is it, this is what we do, this is what we're going to be all about going forward. I can't do this thing and fake my like multi-layered disappointment with how last night's show went. But it certainly was new.
And it was funny as well to see Triple H, who hates the bloody spotlight, shoved out there again.
I know. Like, you could almost feel... I was going to say you could feel Shawn Michaels' arms pushing him from the thing, but he was out there too. So we made sure it was about DX. As I say, nothing but new.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, there is a newness in wrestling elsewhere other than NXT, because there could be some in AEW. Serena Deeb was speaking to the brilliant Denise Salcedo for Instinct Culture, and almost let slip, but didn't.
Yeah.
Some things that, look, maybe ahead of tonight's 5th anniversary, birthday?
I never know what it is. 5 years of AEW Dynamite.
Big Dynamite tonight, and as part of that, Serena Deeb, one of the best women's wrestlers the company's ever had, goes against arguably its biggest star in Britt Baker. It's Britt Baker's first appearance in ring since Mercedes Money at Wembley Stadium, I do believe. And Serena Deeb said, I think the division right now could be even more incredible. Just last week I saw, and then she stopped herself. I guess I won't name drop in case there need to be surprises, but there were a number of women there last week that were getting cleared. It's really cool because right now the roster is stacked, and it's getting ready to be even more stacked with the returning from injury players. It's nice to report good news stories for the AEW Women's Division in 2024, an absolute success story for All Elite Wrestling this year. And in Mercedes Money and Mariah May, you've got sort of 2 champions with a bunch of fresh matches. These are like relatively new to AEW and relatively new on top of AEW. So there's so many pairings that we haven't yet seen. And in terms of the not just the clearances from injuries, but the surprise returns, and then even when Britt Baker returned herself recently, that in itself was a huge surprise. And then we've had no kind of word from her ever since. So that feels like it's got its own spice around it tonight, other than it just being a match against Deeb. So yeah, I want this division to go from strength to strength. I feel like everything is still moving in the right direction.
It may even get to a point where they have 2 women's matches on an episode of AEW Dynamite. Who knows?
Could you even imagine?
But yeah, it'd be really nice to see more people come back. We talked yesterday about Adam Cole potentially making a return sooner than expected. Yeah, I just like reporting stuff like this.
You want the reverse of yesterday's news where everyone was injured?
Yeah. Feel free to speculate in the comment section below who you think it may be. But wouldn't be surprised with a few surprises on tonight's show for AEW Dynamite. And that women's division is absolutely stacked, isn't it?
Yeah, it's exciting. It's a big night for them as well tonight, I think. 5 years.
We'll be previewing, of course, later on today, WhatCulture Wrestling Podcast, wherever you get your podcast from, for that one. But let's talk a little bit about the Royal Rumble. Not the one coming up February 1st, of course.
Weird.
Strange.
Weird.
Later on in April for Mania, of course.
Creeps.
420 in Las Vegas. Sounds good to me.
10 days before my 40th birthday.
We're all in our 30s right now.
I will accept cash-in cards.
But some trade secrets about the Royal Rumble have been leaked, or not leaked, have been revealed actually, basically, because we haven't been able to hear about them because WWE previously had been locked in a legal battle with San Antonio regarding the 2023 Royal Rumble. But now that has gone away. Brandon Thurston, the brilliant Brandon Thurston, who's so good reporting so many fantastic things from WrestleNomics, has discovered the unredacted contract that reveals just what WWE puts on people when they take the Royal Rumble.
Maybe why they wanted it to not get out, possibly,
The Alamo Dome, of course. The venue is not allowed to advertise or host a wrestling event 90 days before the scheduled WWE event and 60 days after said event. So basically, half the year.
You're blocking people out of stadiums, aren't you?
Furthermore, the addendum says that the venue cannot advertise or host wrestling events as long as tickets are on sale for the WWE event. So, of course, tickets go on sale before the 90-day exclusivity window. So that extends that window even further. So basically, if you want a big show like the Royal Rumble or something big from WWE, don't expect to be doing any other wrestling events for the other half of the year.
Yeah. And it's all weirder now to me. If this story had come out and we still didn't know that SummerSlam 2025 was going to be at MetLife in New Jersey, I would be even more convinced that SummerSlam was going to be taking place at Wembley.
Yeah.
Because if you do the math and the trig and the calc on this, basically, that is almost like a full year of potentially freezing out a competitor with 3 initials that I can't possibly think of that might also be wanting to run stadiums in America and in England. And you can draw conclusions, and this is just my speculation because this is one story that, as you say, Brandon Thurston has brilliantly uncovered and reported.
Good work.
But you were allowed to at least speculate that maybe WWE would attempt to broker similar deals with the other stadiums they run, safe in the knowledge that their competition would be trying to run those stadiums too.
Run, not fill, obviously, but yeah.
We are, of course, talking about All Elite Wrestling, who will run Dallas for All In 2025, not at AT&T Stadium, but that gorgeous new, is it a baseball venue there? It looks incredible, that venue they've got in Dallas.
They better do bloody Forbidden Door in Wembley. Wembley Arena.
Wembley Arena, I think, Forbidden Door. Or do we know that yet? We don't, do we?
We don't know.
Wembley Arena or the O2, possibly somewhere like that. I don't think it's going to be Wembley Stadium. But indeed, WWE met
with
James's? Met with Sadiq Khan earlier. The Stadium of Light's got great access. Beyonce's around there multiple times. Never answered James's Park. Ask questions.
I've been to see Spice Girls there.
At the Stadium of Light?
Yeah, it was class.
Yeah. Bruce Springsteen's played there a couple of times as well. I happen to know that Bruce Springsteen, Beyonce and others stay in the beautiful, and I can actually say that and mean it, the beautiful Seaham Hall Hotel and Casino. No, in Seaham. Very much
I drove past an OYO. Is there an OYO in the UK?
Yeah, there's one gate.
I drove past one the other day.
Yeah. Seaham Hall. Yeah, very much Seaham. The jewel in the crown of the North East Coast, IMO.
My sources actually reported that unfortunately Stadium of Light, I wasn't even aware of this, had a bit of a electricity problem, a bit of a power failure during the Bruce Springsteen concert. Unfortunately, the audience were left dancing in the dark, so there's a joke for the older wrestling fans.
What's your favourite Springsteen song? Let us know in the comments. Who's your favourite boss, Springsteen or Sasha Banks?
My favourite is when he cock slid the camera at the Super Bowl.
Hey, Jesus Christ, coming into your living room, Bruce, what are you doing? Cock slid. Bone in the USA. Anyway, what were we talking about? Oh, Royal Rumble, yeah, WWE. That's like, the October on sale date for WrestleMania as another example.
That's a good point.
We don't know that this is Allegiant. This could have just been an Alamo Dome thing, but let's say
if you're in Vegas, don't expect any wrestling shows anytime soon.
October, October to April, can I do it? What about afterwards? 90 days. That's a lot of the year.
That's October to June.
Yeah, it's not great, is it?
It's the best. I love it.
I was going to say it's not cricket, but then we'd be talking about the harshest crickets, wouldn't we?
Yeah, indeed.
Which some of them were in attendance at the All-State last night. Switching gears back to sort of, a lot of harshest crickets at the time, because there was a lot of silence that greeted this cult favourite act back in the...
I loved them back
late 2000s. Me too. Late 2000s, early 2010s. I am talking of Layla and Michelle McCool. One time, controversial, but not for reasons that they caused. Ultimately, they were involved in a very very ugly angle with Mickey James.
It's on the Vince McMahon documentary.
It does pop into the Vince McMahon documentary. As he's making mince beef.
As he's basically saying, we didn't do anything bad, and they're like, here's a parade of things that they did that were terrible.
You got this and this and this and this. And speaking of
Piggy
things that
James,
speaking maybe of things that the Netflix documentary left out of the Vince McMahon story, me and you are going to be popping back into these chairs, aren't we?
Indeed we are.
Dive a little bit deeper into that. Video coming soon to WhatCulture.com. But yes, on Lay Cool, a beloved act beyond some of the awful things they were scripted to do. Layla has spoken. Somebody that has seemingly left wrestling behind once she left wrestling altogether. But she was speaking to the They Made Their Way to the Ring podcast, and she said, quote, "I would like to do a Lay Cool reunion, even if it's just for one night. I really feel like Michelle and I owe it to each other, and we owe it to the Lay Cool fans who would like to see it one more time. If it's possible, I would." This is notable. Layla has previously never sort of expressed any major interest about getting back out there. She's obviously spoken about her relationship with Michelle McCool, and you could tell their chemistry was just kind of infectious together. Michelle McCool, I do believe, has links with WWE still, if nothing else through marriage, because I believe she's shacked up with a guy called the Dead Man. Ever heard of him? So we sort of see Michelle McCool from time to time. She's kind of a goated Royal Rumble wrestler at this point. I'll get the gear on. Jumped out the crowd for one of them, and she still kicked ass in it. So yeah, she's kind of held a link to WWE ever since, but Layla less so. So this, for those that care, this feels significant.
Yeah, this would be awesome. I'd love to see Layla back. I was a big fan of hers back in the day. And like you say, she's been away for so long. It'd be such a surprise return. I don't know whether you do it as Michelle McCool's in the Rumble and the next person out is Layla. And then you just have another team, just off the top of my head, let's say Caden Carr and Katana Chance, chuck them out, and then you have a little mini feud with them. So you get just whether it just be on TV or a PLE or whatever, a kind of a nice... Because they've had that obviously with Trish and Lita a while back.
Yeah, you could do something quite
I'll
nice.
be up for it.
Then the Rumble still allows for little nostalgia pops and stuff like that as well, doesn't it? Like kind of a bit of harmless fun, a bit of levity during the match when you're trying to build to the... Triple H could do with that. Like his Rumbles could do with a little bit of... Chill out, mate.
Cheer up.
Yeah, chin up a little bit. A little bit...
Oh, God.
A little bit 2.0, a little bit less new NXT for those Rumbles for me.
I just had a thought. What if they're in there, they're dominating?
Yeah.
If only there was another duo, maybe former tag team champions that we haven't seen back in WWE that could come in and sort them out. Maybe a sort of... I'm not going to do it because people get complaints. Iconic duo that could set up one of the greatest feuds in wrestling.
If I haven't already sent your you-know-what to the moon, I'm going to, what about a square off in the ring with Nia Jackson doing his... And they go to take the briefcase, and it pulls apart perfectly like the women's title did. She's got to carry around the disconnected one.
I loved it when they were like co-champions. Is this allowed?
To solve that problem.
What if I pin one of you? How does that work then? What's going on?
It just
you get half the title, and then what if two of us pin you? Is it a quarter of the title?
Yeah.
I love them. Bring them back, absolutely. I'd love to see Layla back in the ring.
I think about Layla cool because almost all of WWE at that time was uniformly awful, so the acts that weren't really mean something to me.
Yeah, a lot of the other acts I was saying, you're not enough for me. Come on, what are we doing here?
And of course, who can forget when they had Loser Leaves WWE Forever match as well.
So. Never forget that.
No.
Iconic quote, of course. Anyway, let us know your thoughts on that and everything we discussed in the comment section below. Like, share, subscribe, as I said. And make sure you check out our reviews and previews on the WhatCulture Wrestling podcast later on today. In the interim, though, why not check out this video right here? Bye.